Well, hello everybody. Welcome back into Studio 42. It's kind of a mess right now, but lots of things are kind of a mess right now. You know what though? I feel good today. I feel really good today. I feel good about making a video to share with you guys, which I haven't done in far too long, and so many apologies. There's a lot to be said on that, you know. But before any of you get too worried, I want to let you know everything with Char and I, perfectly fine. But here's the deal. Big sigh. Here's the deal. There are a lot of relationships that we deal with in life, and all of them have an effect on us at the end of the day. And if those relationships continue for a long time, they have a cumulative effect. It adds up, and things that we didn't think would necessarily affect us in the beginning start to become weights that we carry on our shoulders, burdens that make us kind of slouch a little bit. They become things that make it hard to look yourself in the mirror in the morning and say, I feel good about me. To be honest, to be perfectly honest, and honestly, there we go with that word again, that's kind of what I've always been about on this channel is, you know, I may not be an amazing gardener, I may not be an amazing philosopher, but what I try to be is real. I share with you what's really going on. And that's why I haven't been able to share anything for the last couple of months, because that toxic relationship that I'm talking about in the title and I'm talking about today, I didn't feel like me. I didn't feel like I had anything worth sharing. I didn't feel like I could even pretend to smile. And that is not being real. You know, pretending to smile is not being real. And I know there are people out there who have grown to care about me in these going on 9 years that I've been making videos. And I know there are a lot of you out there that I have grown to care about. And I have been lucky enough to meet a couple people. And I hope in the future to be able to meet a lot more. There's a lot going on in the world that needs to just chill the hell out. And then maybe we can get back to doing that. But in the meantime, you know, I keep these relationships going via the medium of YouTube. And it's good. And it's great, actually. It's great. But I have missed it over the last couple of months because I simply haven't been able to put myself in front of the camera and not feel like I would be worrying people who cared about me. So, there's that. But I am blessed in life by some of the circumstances that we've been in and some of the risks that we've taken that have played out well and worked out for us. So Char and I talked about it, and we decided that, you know, mental health, I think anybody who's aware of Char's other channel, the Char Wilcox channel, knows that mental health is really important to our family. And we decided that, you know, in keeping with that theme, this particular toxic relationship was having too much of an effect on my mental health, and it simply wasn't worth it anymore. So I went through a couple of days of terror and feeling quite upset in the stomach, and kind of thinking every time the phone rang, they were going to be calling to get a hold of me for something positive or something negative or whatever. But yeah, I had to get out of that situation. And today I feel really good. I feel good about being me. I feel good about where we are. I feel like I can achieve my goals again. I can see my dreams and my plans down the road, whereas for, I'd say almost a year or so, it's been really hard for me to actually visualize those things. I remembered what I wanted, but it was getting really hard to see it, and it got to a point where I couldn't see it anymore. And well, it was becoming visible in me, in my behaviors, and the behaviors of my stomach in particular. But that's how I expel stress, apparently. So that didn't necessarily work well, and something had to be done about it. So, in case you're wondering, what's this toxic relationship that I'm talking about? Most people think about relationships in terms of people, but we have other relationships in life. We have the relationship with which we acquire our income. Now, maybe most people don't think about this as like a serious kind of thing, but I do. Situational, perhaps, environmental, I'm not sure. I've always accredited it to the fact that I grew up with brilliant grandparents who all achieved positions of some status or some power or some merit. And they have given me a lot of thoughts to think about as I have grown older and started to understand the wisdom of what they shared with me when I was young. Unfortunately, I lost most of my grandparents while I was too young to really acquire the true depth of their knowledge that they were trying to share, but I'm doing a good job of struggling through it. And a big part of it, I think, ultimately does relate to my relationship with money. These people all wanted me to have a good and healthy relationship with money, and there's nothing wrong with that. Some people will tell you that, the greatest evil is the love of money, and I agree with that. It's the love of money, not necessarily money itself. So it's perfectly okay, it's perfectly healthy to have money in your life as it flows through you, as it comes to you. There's enough of it out there. There's abundance all around us, right? We just have to be open to receive it, and then the opportunities for it to flow towards us present themselves, and then, the next step on that is acting on the opportunities. And yeah, through some of those circumstances, we've been able to be here. But for the last 2 years, I have been in a very toxic relationship with how I acquire my income. My workplace fundamentally goes against my previous workplace. I am no longer employed there as of Wednesday. Was my last day at the barn. So there's that. But let's be plain, okay? Working in an industrial barn just goes against everything I stand for. I understand the necessity of it. We will be exploring it in some context on the farm channel. Expect a video basically labeled either industrial barns and why it's important to meet your farmer, or the pork on your fork, something along either of those lines. I'm not quite sure yet. I'm a little nervous about that because I was threatened somewhat as a YouTuber that if I open my yap about the barn, there could be some potential legal action that comes my way. But to the best of my knowledge, I never signed anything. To the best of my knowledge, there are no ag-gag laws. And I intend to keep the verbal promise I made when I was hired, and that will be I will share no images from the barn. That's fair. I never said I wouldn't share my thoughts and feelings on it. My thoughts and feelings on it are it's a horrible, dehumanizing experience for a person like me to work in. And feeling that I was dependent on going somewhere that was so against everything I believe and everything I want for the industry, I thought I was going to be okay with it. I really did. And for that first year or so, I was doing okay. And then I found tricks to kind of pretend I wasn't there. I got an Audible account and I got a cell phone because my old cell phone just wasn't good enough for the app anymore. However, an S4 does meet minimum requirements, so I didn't have to get a new cell phone by any means, thank God. But I found ways to, like I say, pretend I wasn't there. I was listening to regenerative farming while I was working in the barn. It's such a conflict between mind and body, but it was a form of escapism, and I like to learn, so that the first few times you hear the book, it's a good learning opportunity. After that, it's purely escapism, which is why I ended up listening to things like The Guide and Alice in Wonderland and things like that too. But I couldn't look myself in the mirror anymore and feel good about how I was putting food on our table. I couldn't look myself in the mirror anymore and feel good about me. I had shrunk probably 2 inches in my general stature, and that looking in the mirror thing plays heavily on the whole posting videos to YouTube, because I do my best to look at the camera. I go straight against that "don't ever look directly at the camera" thing, because you know what? I'm not communicating with somebody over on the other side of the room as if, yes, you're not actually that important. I'm trying to communicate with you. You are the one that I am trying to share my message with, not somebody over there. If I wanted to talk to the plants, I'd talk to the plants. I wouldn't need the camera. I want to talk to you. I want to try and make your life better. That's always been one of my goals in life. There are people in my life who in the past have told me that is one of my weakest points, my greatest weakness, if you will. But in reality, these individuals are also pretty toxic. I think of it as one of my strengths. I've built this channel around a desire to help people, mostly help people with gardening, and help people get over the idea that you have to be good at something to get started at it. If nothing else, I have shown you so many failures and so many attempts to get back up on my feet and put something in the ground that I can eat, that I hope I have encouraged people to at least get out there and try. Food's pretty important for the species. You know, there are those breatharians or whatever those people are who swear you can live on breath and sunshine, but I have been hungry for a couple of days at a time, and I prefer living on food. Maybe I'm just old-fashioned, but I think there are a lot of people out there like me who would rather have food. And if I can encourage them to go out there and put seeds that cost pennies into the ground and save themselves dollars in produce in the months, years to come, then I'm just going to keep on doing that, because I feel good helping people. To that end, I have in fact figured out a career path for the rest of my working life. Technically I got something in the neighborhood of 20 years or so of working life ahead. So in order to have a positive and healthy relationship with how I earn my money, I have selected a field where I can use my analytical mind and my desire to help people, my love of numbers, and my, not to toot my own horn, but exemplary customer service skills, in a positive way to improve the community around me. And hopefully, with a few years in the field and I can maybe start specializing, hopefully I'll be able to help families keep their farms, which is a job I can very much look myself in the mirror and feel good about. So, I don't know. I just really felt the need to kind of share where I've been mentally over this past year, because those of you who know me and know me well know I haven't really been here. And physically where I've been over the last couple of months, because even if you just kind of know me, you're kind of wondering, now, why don't he write? The end of the day, it's not you, it's me. And it's not me. It's the toxic relationship that I was in with how I earned my money. But now that I've chosen a career path, I can easily make plans and take steps and ensure that I reach that goal. And ultimately, it's a good career for a person who has long-term goals such as mine, because they involve helping people. And that is a good thing. So, I probably babbled on for a lot longer than I expected when I sat down here. I've got a big old nice warm mug of tea in my hands, but I'm feeling pretty parched up anyway. So 1,000 apologies to those of you in headphones. Is there a moral to this? Is there a point to this? I guess if you wanted to find a moral in this, I'd say, how's your relationship with how you earn your money? Does it affect whether or not you can look yourself in the mirror? If it does, is it time to change? Maybe you just need to change your perspective with how you look at your job. Maybe you feel resentful because it's not the best job that you could possibly have, where you should perhaps feel grateful because there are a lot of people out there right now who would love to have your job. Truth is, my job was unnecessary. My previous job was unnecessary. It was pure drudgery, and being told this by the manager himself, ultimately, it was created because everybody else there didn't want to do this job, even though they got paid to do this job. So they created a part-time position that ultimately became my job. So something 10 people were supposed to do once every 10 days, I did every day. Nowhere near as damaging to the full-timers as it was to somebody who is only a casual, only a part-timer, and breathing that stuff every day. But that is a conversation for a different channel, and that industrial barns or the pork on your fork video that I was discussing earlier. If you're still with me, I cannot begin to tell you how much I appreciate the love and support that you've given me on the channel over the years, and how much I do truly love and appreciate you. So, thank you. Thank you so much for sticking around with me. And all those changes to the channel that I promised months ago are still coming, but at least now you have a better idea of where they came from and the mindset I was in then. And I hope, I hope maybe I have empowered some of you to consider your relationship with your income, and to maybe to move forward, or maybe help find a way to make your relationship with it more positive. I will be doing an audiobook review that I feel is very helpful for most people in this situation. It did not help me get through my situation. Ultimately, it helped me realize that my situation was more toxic. But yeah, that'll be one of those future videos, and this time it won't be that long in coming because, well, I just don't have anything else more pressing on my time at the moment, and I am so happy to be able to get back to sharing with my friends. I love you, everybody. Until next time, take good care of yourself. Stay healthy in all things. Oh yeah, and happy gardening.